because they're like, oh, Casey, you're the most mature, you can communicate the most, so how about you do that? The thing is, if you don't try, then how are you going to improve? A lot of young people, sadly, they distract themselves a lot with alcohol, substances, games, and they sort of lose sense of who they really are. There's only you. If you are at war with yourself, then what's the point of all this thing?
So, welcome back to the podcast. And in this episode, I am going to be talking to the girl who sits behind me in calculus class and asks me philosophy questions. Welcome, Casey, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining me. And I want to begin with an introduction to who you are to the audience. So, can you tell me who Casey is, what she does, and why does she create the things that she creates on the internet?
Well, my name is Casey, and I am the creator of the channel It's Casey Journal. So in the channel, I mostly talk about motivation, advice. I plan to target to teen audiences because I know how much of a struggle it is to paddle through life, especially when you're in the transitioning between the teenage and the adulthood. So I actually strive to become like a big sister to all of these young teenage girls and teenage kids that wants my advice.
Okay. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is maturity. You know, for us, we're now in this important part of life where we're preparing for university and planning to go abroad. And for our listeners as well, many of them, they recently finished their IGCSE exams. And so they're also in a similar situation of having to decide between, different secondary education options. And I think in these cases, maturity is one of the most important traits that people can have. And, there's this saying that we mature not by age, but by damage. So I want to ask you if maturity can be earned deliberately, and how can young people strive to become mature?
So the first quote, we mature not by age but by damage, I agree to that quote, but I also believe that there's also a lot of other factors that plays in maturing a person. Factors such as pain and also environment and the society and people we surround ourselves with, they are also very important in maturing us. So I believe that maturity can be earned deliberately. I don't think anyone was born mature, right? Yeah. That's why when we were a child, we always throw tantrums and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think young people can actually start to become mature or can learn to become mature when they start becoming self-aware of themselves. I think maturity starts when you're starting to be aware of the impact of your words, your decisions, the impact of knowing that your words could hurt them, knowing that, these people, they also have feelings, and being self-aware of why you did what you did. I think it's really important. And I also believe that maturity starts when you really starts to take responsibility and accountability for yourself. I think this is something that not even a lot of people in adults have, because, our ego just makes us think when we make some mistakes, our first instinct is to blame other people. Mm. Maturity is knowing that you also make mistakes because you're a human, and you actually own up to that mistake. You actually make it up to that person. Mm. It's also becoming self-aware of who you really are and knowing yourself.
Yeah. And on that note of blaming yourself, I think sometimes some people, they blame themselves too much, Yeah. There are some young people that I know that struggle with blaming themselves on everything that goes wrong. Even if someone else was involved, they just blame themselves. Yeah. So you do have to navigate between, that not going to that extreme end of always blaming yourself. Yes, you do have to be accountable for the things that happen in your life, but you can't go to that extreme end of always blaming yourself and always thinking that you're the one who's always responsible. Mm-hmm. So we have to navigate that as well. Yeah. And the next thing that I want to ask you is about things that young people don't really learn at school. So what do you think are some skills that young people have to teach themselves that they won't necessarily learn through formal education?
So the first thing, like we said, the maturity. I also believe that young people, especially I grew up in the government school, right? We mostly stick to our own group. And that sort of manifests in our day-to-day basis, like interactions and stuff. People don't know how to communicate anymore. They sort of shy away from their society and their friends. And I think it's very important because especially growing up in the government school where where the teachers are like, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, or like you're not able to talk back to them. It's not that hard in high school too, but I think it's sort of instilled in ourselves that our voices don't actually matter. So I think people sort of become pushovers. Me myself is also a pushover. So I think we have to learn how to really speak up for ourselves. And just because someone in authority is telling you some things, that doesn't mean it's always right. And you have to find your voice and you have to really listen to what you want, not what the majority wants. And you have to also learn about communication skills. I don't think just memorizing subjects and getting good grades will actually get you far in life. What matters a lot, is communication skills. If you can talk to anyone in the group, if you can make anyone like you, and if you're able to make anyone feel heard and special, then I think it's such a very special gift that will get you far in life. Yeah.
And on that note of being heard, I think adults can also help cultivate, children who will go on to make a big difference in the world by listening to their voices and accepting what they have to say. I think they also play an important role. So it's not just on the part of young people. Like even if they go on to teach themselves how to communicate or how to approach people, if the adults and the grown-ups don't listen to them, then they won't feel like what they're doing is right. And so adults can also play a part in their journey by playing that role of someone who's listening, and maybe they can provide guidance as well, because young people, they're not always correct. And the adults can be the judges, and they can help make small little corrections that will point young people in the right direction. And with communication, I think you have to try communicating to become better at that. It's not just about taking like English classes. It's also about having the courage to go and try it.
Yeah, what's really funny is I was always good at English classes, because you said when I was like grade 4 or like when I was, I think, around 10, 11, I couldn't even go up to the cashier and ask for the bill.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think a lot of kids, just because they are not confident enough to talk to someone else's, they don't talk anymore. I face a lot of this problem with my friends because my friends know that I'm a good communicator. When we are going somewhere else or when we're trying to like talk our problems to the manager or anything, they push me to do that. Because they're like, oh, Casey, you're the most mature, you can communicate the most, so how about you do that? The thing is, if you don't try, then how are you going to improve? So I believe that it's also really important to just try. Your first try is not going to be perfect. It's going to be really messy. It's going to give you a lot of social anxiety, but that's how you get through it.
And I think you need like people who will force you into that uncomfortable situation. Because for me, I was always that nervous, anxious little kid who didn't want to go up to the cashier. But there were people who forced me to do that. Another time I wanted to cry. It was as if the world was unfair to me. Like, why do I have to do this? But in hindsight, if I didn't have those people who didn't push me out of my comfort zone, who didn't tell me to go and try it, then I would not have become who I am today. So adults can play that role as well. They can be the people who push young people out of their comfort zone to try the things that they need to try to become actually good at that. So that's one thing. And the reason I keep talking about adults is because sometimes children and young people, they have the pressure of like being responsible for their own life. But if they don't grow up in an environment with adults to look up to and adults that don't influence them in the correct way, then it's still very difficult for them. Which is why I really want adults to put a little bit of effort in influencing and guiding their young people as well. Because for me, that's my biggest source of influence. It comes from the adults that I've been with. If they weren't there, I would not be who I am today.
Actually, what you said is true because the person who pushed me to go up to the cashier is my sister. Yeah. And she lacked confidence when she started entering the workplace. And she didn't want that to happen to me. So she was like, no, you gotta go.
Yeah. And I think we can be the adults now. We can teach the children again. So it's this like generational thing that we're passing on, which is a really cool thing as well. And going back to the topic of being in an important phase of life, we're doing uni admissions, we're preparing to go abroad. We're having to make big decisions. Because think about applying to OUAC, for example. We can choose like 3-4 universities, and that's it. So we have to make a very good decision when it comes to selecting that top 5, top 3 that we're going for. So those are big decisions. And if we somehow mess up, we can't really go back and change it. So what are some big questions that you've been asking yourself recently, regarding the direction that you're headed in life, not just academically, but also, but generally in life?
Actually, I haven't been asking myself questions recently, but there's a lot of questions that I have asked myself for years and years now. I think we would have to go back to like some of the storytelling because back in grade 12, it was just studies and studies and studies. What happened is I felt suffocated. I did not enjoy what I was studying. I wanted to do business. My parents sort of forced me to learn medicine. I did well at school, but I did not like it. So every day I would wake up, I look at my sister, and she loves what she's doing. She loves creating art. And I also look at Taylor Swift and her behind the scene. Everyone is so passionate about what they're doing. So it was then I asked myself this question. I will always do something that I actually am passionate about. I will never ever do anything that someone told me to do again in my entire life. So that's one question, because now about these old universities and stuff, I always ask myself, will I regret this decision? Will this decision make me happy? Is this what I really want, or is this what other people want from me? It's very important to differentiate between what they want and what I want. So yeah, I think a lot of young people, when they're in this choosing universities and stuff, they're gonna have to ask themselves the financial questions, and they'll figure it out. But I think one of the big questions is, will you regret it?
Yeah, same for me. That's the biggest question that I've asked myself throughout life. 10 years down the line, if I look back on this moment, will I be happy about it? That's what I ask myself. Because if you think about what you're going to lose, then it becomes really serious, and so your mind starts to take it more seriously. And I think at the end of the day, all that matters is whether you regret it or not, because that's the only thing you can't change. Even if you end up in the wrong career, you can still go back. But if you regret the choices that you made 10 years ago, you can't really turn back. So that's the most important big question for me as well. And another thing about another one of those big questions is there something that I really want? And I try to think of it in terms of the lifestyle. If the lifestyle that I will get as a result of making this decision, will I enjoy it? And sometimes I extrapolate and I ask myself, can I do this for the rest of my life? So if the answer is yes, then I would immediately do it. And for example, podcasting, this is something that I can definitely do for the rest of my life. So I jump at the opportunity to do this. And so passion and the ability to do it without putting in much effort, that's also one way I try to navigate these big decisions.
I'd like to ask, so What's your lifestyle that you imagine for yourself?
The lifestyle that I imagine for myself, the dream the dream lifestyle that I would want is like hard intellectual work that is deeply satisfying. So I want to be solving difficult problems, but not like impossible problems. I want to go to work and I want to be excited by the things that I'm going to be doing. And it has to be a little bit difficult in order to be challenging, but not impossible. So I want to go to work and maybe I'll be at work for like 10 hours, 12 hours. It's fine. And then I want to come back home and I want to say, okay, work's done. Now it's time to relax. So for the rest of the day, I want to have fun. I want to relax, maybe with my friends, with family. And then I want to do that again the next day. So it's this mixture of like challenging and difficult work and like fun, uninterrupted playtime. Because my philosophy is work hard and play hard. I want to work hard, but I also want to play hard. So I want a lifestyle where I can do both of these things. And it's kind of difficult for me when it gets mixed up. Like when work creeps into my daily life and when like my daily responsibilities come into work. Because I want to be the best at the thing that I do, and I also want to be the best person when I'm not working. So that's my ideal lifestyle. So what about you? What's your ideal dream lifestyle?
I don't want to work.
You don't want to work? Okay, that's fine.
No. So there's this one from what you said, skill issues.
No, I'm just joking around with the
Yeah. I cannot do the same work for more than 3 months. I lose interest quick. I lose excitement quick. My dream lifestyle is I want to travel the world. Maybe it's not maybe, I will build my brand. I will build something that screams me. And I will make people see themselves through me, and I will build a brand that is like very essential for other people. But I will also work online, and I won't be going to work 9 to 5. I don't think I'll have a house. I think I'll probably just rent off Airbnb and then travel the world, maybe by myself, maybe with my sister, or maybe with my husband then. But I don't want to be stuck in one place. The world is too big.
Do you know about the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Yeah.
In that book, Mark Manson, he was living this life of, moving to different cities, and he was trying all these different jobs. But then as he grew up, he said he kind of regretted it. So what about you? Do you think you'll end up in that position that Mark Manson found himself in? Or do you think you will continue enjoying that life full of variation until you're like, 40 or 50?
It's hard to say because right now I'm only 19. Right. Maybe at 30 I might want to settle. But I also believe that before any of these settling things happen, I really want to see the world. I want to do a lot of adventurous things. There's a lot of places that we have never been. I haven't seen the Northern Lights yet. So I want to make sure I fulfill all of the dreams, because there's one belief that I do not believe in. People say that, this age and this age you have to work hard and then you can rest after you retire. You cannot climb a whole so many kilometers high mountain when you retire. You're old now. So I want to leave and travel the world while I'm still young, and maybe I'll settle when I'm older. Maybe I'll have a house beside the ocean. Who knows?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of podcasts where the creators talk about how, when you're in your 20s, all you should do is work, because they say that in your 20s you have the resistance and the strength to endure through 24 hours a day of work. So they say that, and what they suggest is you should work hard in your 20s and 30s, and then you can take it a little easier once you make it a decade later. But I disagree with that advice, because it might be true if you are trying to build Facebook. If you're trying to build Instagram, then maybe, because you're trying to compete with these big giants. So maybe you might have to give everything that you have to fulfill your dream. But for most of us, I don't think that's the dream. We don't want to be competing at that level. So we can just take it easy. And like I said, I want to work hard and play hard at the same time. So it's not like I'm gonna be, stuck in my office for 1 year and then I'm gonna travel for a week. No, I want to work for maybe 3 months and then take a break. And I want to have like quarterly holidays, maybe.
The vision I have for myself and my business is, of course, there's gonna be like a lot of sleepless nights where I just have to invest all my time and energy and money to the business, the brand that I'm going to build. But once I build the ecosystem, the business will be able to run without me. And that's when I'm gonna travel the world. But I'm not gonna do it only after like 30 or something. I'm gonna try, of course. I'm gonna try to build my dream job, my dream business in like early or late 20s, and then that's it, I'm gone. I'm gonna go around.
So what kind of tips can you give for young people who want to find out what they really want in life?
I think a lot of young people, sadly, they distract themselves a lot with alcohol, substances, games, and they sort of lose sense of who they really are. I think if they want to know what they really want in their lives, I think it should start with if they know who they really are. And that's not gonna happen if you just run away from your problems and then distract yourself with a lot of distractions. You should ask what makes you happy, what are your goals in life. You should ask what kind of lifestyle you want to be. You should ask, like, if you imagine your higher self or the best version of yourself, how is she? What type of person is she? I believe that these are some type of questions that they can ask themselves. And what else? Oh, it's also very important to know whether the person, whether their decisions are influenced by themselves or by a lot of people beside them. Yeah.
Like in today's world, I think it's very easy for young people to find happiness in things that don't really truly make them happy, because of things like video games, social media. It's all instant gratification, and so they can find themselves being lost in those kind of distractions, and they can think, oh, this is what makes me happy, this is what makes me feel satisfied. But that's not really all that they want in life. They know that some part of them, they know that they can be more than that. And so I think a critical step that young people should take is to live without the things that make them feel happy, without actually making them feel happy. It's like instant gratification, like video games and social media. Can you try living without that? And can you spend some time doing the things that you think that you've enjoyed since you were young, and see if those things really bring you a lot of joy? And for me, I spent a lot of time without social media and video games, and so that time gave me it gave me a lot of time to think about what really makes me happy, and the kind of work that I'm intrigued by. So it's a cool experiment that young people can do. Like, try living without dopamine. Try living without instant gratification. And so cutting social media, I think, is also going to be very important, because when you're on social media, you never feel like you're enough, because you're always constantly comparing, and you're always asking yourself, compared to other people, am I happy enough? Am I successful enough? So try living without social media. Try not comparing yourself to other people, and then you'll find what you actually want in life. So that is how you can differentiate between what other people might want for you, or the things that make you appear good without actually bringing you true fulfillment. So try living without social media.
I think balance is very important here. So they should not fully cut off social media, because social media sort of tells them what they can be.
Right.
And actually, a lot of the things that I want for myself, I knew it from social media, from TikTok, because my family, or like my society, sort of have the lack of abundance mindset. It's only through YouTubers and creators, influencers, that I tell myself, oh, I can be so much more than what they want me to be. I can be so much more than what my parents vision my future for.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important. You know what's the saddest thing about young people is that I also see in a lot of my friends. They're not scared of ghost or any gruesome type of like gore stuff. They're scared of being alone by themselves. They're scared. What they're what they're the most afraid of is themselves and their demons. So they would rather distract themselves to run away from the inner turmoil that they have within themselves.
They would rather, be distracted than face their own issues because it's scary.
Yes.
When you think about it.
But if you don't fix it, then there's no way that you can actually know what you want in life.
Yeah, and you'll never feel truly satisfied because if you don't fix those problems, they will tag along with you for years and years, and sometimes it happens. The problems remain for decades, and that's how you end up with a society full of unhappy adults.
Trauma.
Yeah, and trauma and regret. And yeah, I really agree with your point about balance when it comes to social media, because when I was preparing for my final exams, I completely cut off social media. And what happened was, in hindsight, do I think I should have done that? And the answer is yes. But there was something that I was missing, and that was influence and motivation. Because I was no longer exposing myself to the people that I wanted to be like. So I was no longer connecting with these, highest mark achievers. I was no longer seeing these achievements. And so sometimes everything felt pointless. And it felt as if I was all alone preparing for this exam. Whereas it's not, because there are other people. And because I was off social media, I did not have that connection with the world. So I was alone, and sometimes it felt pointless, and I almost gave up. So if I had that balanced, and if I had that disciplined use of social media, then I would have been able to maintain that influence and that motivation and the drive that initially pushed me, to actually log in on the exam itself. So I agree with that. And also, when you talked about how people are scared of being alone, I don't think that's always been the case. I think it has become a problem because it's easier to distract yourself nowadays.
True.
So you can just pick up your phone and scroll on TikTok, and you won't have to think about your life and problems.
There's a lot of stimulations.
Yeah, a lot of stimulation. So, but like I said, you have to fix those problems, or else you will never ever feel satisfied. Like you can watch a really good movie for like 2.5 hours, but then you come back to yourself and you're like, oh my god, I still have that final that I have to do tomorrow.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you are who you go to sleep with. There's only you. If you are at war with yourself, then what's the point of all this thing?
Yeah. And in one of your videos, you talked about handpicking the people that you want to be with. That point was really striking for me. So I want to ask you what kind of advice you would give, so that you can filter out the right people to be close with, and what kind of criteria do you use so that you can be picky with people? Like, how do you get close to the right people, and how do you maintain that, polite distance with the wrong ones?
First of all, how do I know if that person is the one I want to be friends with or not? Well, it's hard to say for other people because I sort of have this intuitive vision that I look at a person and I just immediately know that they're not the type of person that I want to be friends with. So I think it's a little bit hard to achieve for most people because you just don't look at other people and people are not labeled as good or bad on their forehead. So sometimes there's gonna be a lot of problems within these people, but I think your body knows all along. If you spend your day, if you spend hanging out with that person and then you go back to your house feeling drained or feeling horrible about yourself, then they're not the right person for you. If you sort of hang out with them, you start to hate yourself, or they do not push you to become the best version of yourself, they're not the right people for you. And this is something that I face in a lot of girls. jealousy comes in jokes.
Can you explain that for me?
Yeah. There was this one girl who was sort of jealous on me, but she was so pretty, like drop dead pretty, even prettier than me. When she sees me, she would make these jokes like, "Oh, you're so fat. Oh, you're so ugly. You don't look good with that outfit."
Okay.
But she masked it in jokes and humor. But at the end, I'm always like, why would she say that? And you know, it's so scary when people have this silent jealousy towards you that you have to be always be aware of the type of jokes that they say and their intention, why they said what they said. And I think when your body starts to act a bit repulsive towards them, then it's your intuition telling you that they are not the right people. So about the strategies that I use to get close with the people. You know, the best way to get someone else's green flag is I compliment them.
Compliments.
But there's this little secret that I do. You know, when you're in like a social event, everyone is so pretty, right? And then you want to get close to that person. Oh, you're so pretty. That's also a compliment. But imagine there's a lot of people at that social event. A lot of people will just go up to that person and say, "You're so pretty," or "You're so beautiful tonight." Yeah. So instead of complimenting the overall, I sort of focus on little details. So if that's like someone that I want to be friends with, if that's a girl, I would be like, "Oh wow, I really love your makeup. I love how your eyeshadow just like, you know, it has like the smoky something, right?" Or maybe it's about their outfit. And actually, they immediately love what they like. Everyone loves compliments, right? So when you really compliment on specific detail, they're like, "Wow, they're paying attention to me." Yeah. So I mean, of course, when you want to become friends with them, that's not the only thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
But it creates a pathway for you for that person to welcome you in. And then after that, you're just gonna introduce yourself. "Hey, I'm Casey, and sometimes I say like, I like your energy a lot, and can we be friends?" Just that. It's really simple. A lot of people are not mean.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because most of the most important relationships that I have that contribute to my professional work, let's just say, they didn't start in person. They started via online conversations. So for me, it's very easy to approach people via text messaging, you know, via social media. But I've never really built a solid relationship that starts with like approaching them in person. So it's something that I've never tried before. But I think that's something that I really need to work on because when I go to university, there will be things like events. You know, like in college, we have those events like meets and greets, and they have clubs as well. When I go to those events, like I will have to go up to someone and say like, "Hi, I want to know you." You know, I mean, obviously I'm not gonna try that, but I really need to do that. And so that's one thing that I am, you know, trying to invest in, improve in, because I've never built anything solid out of that. And I hope I can get better at that by the time I'm in university. Yeah, and
Maintaining good distance.
and maintain a good distance.
I ghost people a lot.
I mean, I think it's polite to ghost people because you have your own reasons, and the reason is that it's not your responsibility to reply to everyone. You know, like it's your time, so you're being respectful to yourself by being careful with how you spend your time. And sometimes you will have to ghost people in order to protect your time. And more important than time is like attention. Because if you're in the middle of a busy day and the last thing that you want to do is like think about a text from some random stranger, like you want to protect your mind and attention. That's it.
I think I have a very high standard for people that I'm with, like my friends in friendship, in relationships, whatever it is. Your energy is sacred, right? Your energy, you should not give it out to anyone that you see. Because even as we speak right now, we're exchanging energy. So I'm taking your energy, you're taking my energy. Imagine having a podcast with someone who's just like really negative. That's gonna take a toll on me because I'm also a very like intuitive and I'm like an empath. So it's all these energy, they sort of like drain me a lot. So that's why I have to be extra careful with it. And I think respect is very important. If someone does not respect your boundary, if someone does not respect what you told them not to do, then what's the point of being friends with them? So I would rather ghost them.
Yeah. And I really like how you commented about how you can like feel it if the people are not right for you. Like for me, I mean, we had this conversation off camera just a few minutes ago, but like I know what kind of decision that I'm gonna make, like in 3 to 4 minutes, but I need a justification for it. So most of the decisions that I make come from my gut, not from my brain. My brain just makes up reasons on why I should make the decision. And I think it's the same with people as well. Like my gut can feel if this person is someone that I should be friends with, and then my brain comes up with reasons like, oh, he's very smart, like she's very cool, like, so I rely on my gut a lot when it comes to what kind of relationships that I should have as well.
Just because we're water signs.
Okay, and I think the things that you've done at your age, you've done a lot of phenomenal things. I mean, not every teenager starts a YouTube channel and talks about life and philosophy and how to become mature. So what drives you to do that? Like, what is your motivation for doing all these amazing things at this age?
2 people.
Okay.
My sister. She did what everyone in our family generation did not do. She pursued art because she was really passionate in it. And at first, her grades were really bad when it was about the science topic and the science subject. But she and we grew up actually filming. She would write the script and I would be the actor, the actress, and her creativity shine through. So now she's pursuing art, what she really wants, and she's like the A-star student all the time. And sometimes I look at her life, I look at her Instagram photos and stuff, I'm like, I want to be her. Not that I want to be her, but I want to live my life as her. I want to do what I love. I want to, when I die, I want to ask myself oh, did I regret any of this? I want to ask myself if I lived.
Yeah.
I want to. Another person is actually game character from Love and Deep Space, Raphael.
I don't know the game.
Yeah, but he's an artist.
Okay, artist.
And he's a very sassy man. I like him, but
Okay.
the point is he's also very passionate about what he does. He paints, and I love artists, so I surround myself a lot with artists, and I think they are what drives me. I listen to Aurora. Her songs are really nice too.
Okay, I know her.
Yeah. Oh, you know her.
Yeah, I think I know one song, like the hit song, but I forgot the name of it.
Yeah. So what really drives me is that I want to create a life that I really want. And when I die, I want to be like, oh, I lived.
Yeah.
I want to be that, the cool aunt that travels the world and stuff. So yeah, that's what really drives me.
Yeah, and because you said your sister inspired you, I want to insert this comment about having a role model. Because every young person has a role model. And that's a very good thing because young people are very easily influenced by the person they look up to. For me, I have my uncles, my aunts, amazing people, so I look up to them. And for you, it's your sister. But imagine a young person who doesn't have an adult to look up to. Well, I mean, they are going to fill that role. But if the person that takes the role model isn't inherently a good person, then that young kid can, turn towards negativity. So young people should be deliberate, I think, when it comes to, the role model that they are picking. Because otherwise they're gonna end up, looking up to TikTokers and YouTubers. That's not inherently a bad thing, but you should be careful with who you consider your role model to be. Yeah.
Or you don't need to have a role model. You can just, take all these little traits that you like in a lot of people and have this new character that you build up for yourself.
Yeah, there's a quote that I really love. It reads, search in others for their virtues. Search in yourself for your vices. So it means like look for the good parts in people and put them together. And then you're going to look for the bad parts in yourself, and then you're going to try to remove those bad parts and replace them with the good parts in other people. That's what I ask myself always, like, what is the good thing in that girl? What is the good thing in that boy? And how can I take from that so that I can become a better person?
You know, because we're talking about this, I saw this quote that says, you know, the good things that you see in other people are the reflection of you. If you think, oh, this person is really good at communicating, or this person is really empathetic, it's because you already have that inside you.
Yeah.
And they are just reflecting off of you.
And I want to discuss about guilt. So, what is your relationship with this feeling of guilt?
I broke up with it.
Okay, congratulations.
Okay. You know how searching for universities is really hard? Studying abroad is very expensive.
Yeah. It's very expensive.
And I have this, I think, over-independency that I don't want to depend on my parents. So when faced with something like this high amount of money, and just having to ask that money from my parents, it's like I would rather die than do that, you know. So I felt really guilty. But that was a very toxic guilt, because I remember I started searching for universities that are not very good ranking but are cheap.
Yeah.
I started to make decisions out of fear rather than excitement, and that is very important because it can lead you to a wrong track. So I basically broke up with guilt. I told myself I'm just loaning money from my parents. I'm not actually asking from them. I'm gonna pay back every pennies after 5 or 10 years.
And do you think guilt is important for driving young people towards outstanding? Because you said you would rather die than feel guilty, and I felt that in my life as well. In some parts of my life, I felt like I would rather do this difficult thing and die than feel guilty about it. So that can drive young people to a good extent. So do you think that guilt is an important thing that young people have when it comes to doing difficult things?
I think rather than guilt, I'd say responsibility.
Responsibility.
For example, like I said, because of the guilt, I made decisions from the place of fear, and it sort of made me choose things that I did not really want to, or the things that are not actually meant for me. But if it's because of my guilt that's speaking to me that, oh, your parents are spending so much money on you. But if I turn that guilt into a responsibility, instead of feeling guilty that my parents are spending a lot of money on me, I would rather see it as, okay, they're spending this money on me, so I should be responsible with it, because it's not a small amount of money. It's a very big amount. So I'm gonna really invest in myself. I'm gonna try to become better. So I think there's very a thin line between guilt and responsibility, but you should always turn to responsibility instead of guilt.
It's a sense of duty, this is my duty and I have to do this well, but I'm not gonna feel guilty about it. This is just my duty and I'm gonna do my best in it, and that's it. I'm not gonna be toxic towards myself. That's a better interpretation, a better perspective. Okay, and let's talk about money, because we've been talking about money. What kind of relationship do you think young people these days have with money and financial things?
I mean, that's a very wide topic to discuss about, but I think actually I like to see it from the brighter perspective of you, because a lot of people are pursuing business. That must mean that they're starting to value money more and they want to make more money. But when you say young people and their relationship with money, for some extent I feel like kids should not concern themselves with money. For example, I grew up much earlier than a lot of my friends. It's because of the money problems. There were nights where I couldn't sleep because of the financial problems, and it's not that I was poor. I don't even know why, but I wanted the financial freedom. So I started working even when I was 13. And I really start this reading tarot for other people when I was 15, 16. I think it's a very young age for people to actually start being concerned with money. And sometimes I look back at myself and I sort of feel sad for myself because I had to grow up fast. So, but I think young people, they should, as long as they learn how to be responsible with their own money, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are some kids who don't feel that they are responsible for for how they spend their money. Like, I mean, it's their parents' money, yes, but you should still feel responsible about it. And it's not like if you spend a lot, your whole house is gonna go bankrupt. I'm not talking about that, but if you learn how to be responsible with money since a young age, then once you grow up, those habits are going to stick with you. That financial habit is gonna stick with you, and it's gonna treat you in the long run. Which is why I think it's important to be
Be responsible with money. My English teacher, even when I was like grade 4, I think I was really young, she always tell me to, whenever I get pocket money, save 10% or even 5%, whatever it is, but put it into saving. It's not about the amount that you're trying to save, it's the habit that you're going to build. And I think it's very important that people balance between saving and spending.
And I think rather than saving, instead of just saving, what I've learned about money is I should spend money when I should spend it, but I shouldn't spend it on things that are not necessary. So it's like this kind of filter. Like, I should use money if it's where I need to use money.
Needs and wants.
Yeah, needs and wants, right? And yeah, that really, it's about needs and wants. Like, if I'm gonna buy something, I have to ask myself, do I really need it? Or is this something that I want? Do I really need that to do the things that I enjoy doing? And I try to link it to the things that I enjoy. Should I spend this much money to be able to do the things that I really enjoy doing? Or do I just want it because I want to show it off, or because it gives me excitement for like 2 weeks? Because the thing with purchasing things is like the excitement goes away after 2 weeks. And so like 50 lakhs are out of your bank and you're excited for 2 weeks. Like, that's not really worth it. And that habit is going to be important, because people who spend based on impulse, they become consumerists. They become materialistic. Yeah, and that is the problem of consumerism. They buy and buy, not because they really need it, or not because they really enjoy it, but because they just like want that excitement for like 2 weeks.
Some people chase the trends too.
Yeah, the trend chaser. And it's important for them to show off, like to always have the latest thing. In fact, like, I think it was last Sunday, I was doing an IELTS question, and the question was about people buying new things because of the new features. And that question made me think about my spending habits as well. And I tried to, since answering the question, I've been thinking about it, like my needs and my wants. Do I really need it, or do I want it?
But sometimes allow yourself to spoil yourself a little bit, or allow the universe to spoil you a little bit. I mean, of course, buying flowers is not a necessary, but sometimes it's good for your soul, it's good for your mental health. I'm just talking about flowers, but I mean, do we really need to go eat hot pot? We don't.
Don't, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's a reason for you to get together with your friends.
Yeah. So sometimes spoil yourself.
But then I would count that as an investment in my well-being. And that's not just like pure waste. I'm investing in my well-being, in my sanity, and I'm also investing in the quality time that I'm having with my friends. So that still counts as something that's necessary for me as a person.
So what are your categories for wants and needs?
I think it's very clear, because when I want something, it's mostly because I want to show it off. Because there's that part of me that's like, I want to show it off. And that's like one of the biggest things that I need to fight in my life. It's that impulse to show it off. So if I get a hint of like, okay, I'm going to show this off, then I know immediately that this is not what I want. And if my desire to buy something stems from like a basic need, for example, maybe I need new headphones or a new camera, then I know that that's something I need to buy, because it started from me needing a function that I need to complete. So if it starts from that, then I know that it's something that I need and not something that I necessarily want. However, if in that process of thinking, some element of I want to show this off comes up, then I have to reconsider it. Yeah. So it really is about bragging and boasting.
Whether you want to brag them or not.
And what are your plans for the future of your YouTube channel?
Actually, I want to sort of take on another direction. I don't want to talk about motivation and advice anymore because sometimes I feel like I don't do what I preach. But I mean, we all are humans, so that happens. But rather than that, I want to really connect with my subscribers, and I want to talk about my philosophies, the beauty of life, what I think, and I want to sort of go into a direction of reflective and storytelling content. So we're gonna probably like talk about the struggles, the challenges, basically like my open journal, and we're gonna talk about the mental health, why we do what we do. I plan to do that with the goal of when people watch me, through me, they should meet themselves. They should know what they want, or they should find themselves. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of go to that type of content.
And it's going to be helpful for you as well because the YouTube channel is going to become a tool for you. Every time you create a video, you're meditating, you're reflecting, you're journaling. So it's going to be of benefit to you as well. And I think that kind of brings you excitement. I mean, for me, it brings me excitement when I have to create videos that center around what I'm doing right now. Like instead of going back to like my IGCSE days and like having to give advice. Because when I'm creating videos about, recently I created a video about the trip. And when I created the video, I was very excited because I had to reflect on the trip. And I was, challenging myself with how I would like to present the story. And that challenge made me feel very invested in the project. So it's very exciting when you have to work on the things that you're currently doing instead of going back to the past and like telling people how to go through what you went through.
Sometimes we just have to accept the fact that the content creators, they also outgrew who they were like a year or 2 years ago. What's your future for your channel?
My future, I made a video, or when I posted the vlog, the OSSD vlog, in the end I talked about how I would be more prolific in my second semester. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because of the assignments. However, I wish to create content that I'm truly excited about. And so if I sit down at my desk to edit the video, I want to feel motivated and enthusiastic about the project. So I'm going to be very selective about the work that I do. And I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more podcasts because when I do podcasting, like I'm being a parasite, an intellectual parasite. Like I'm feeding off of people's knowledge and their experiences. And a 1 hour podcast episode can bring so much perspective than reading a book for like 3 hours. And I don't think I have the time to sit down and, read books. Even though I wish to, I don't think I have the time. And so me doing these podcasts is my intellectual growth and my attempt to expand my understanding of the world. So I would be investing a lot more into this podcasting, and hopefully I will be doing vlogs as well, because when I vlog, it's very reflective. It makes me see my life through the camera, not through my own eyes. And that gives me a perspective.
That's true. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're having me here today.
Yep, and thank you very much for your insights and for your philosophy.
For your insights too. You shared a lot too.
Thank you for expanding my worldview. Thank you for being the host of me being the parasite. Thank you for allowing me to feed off of your experiences.
Well, if you call yourself parasites, you can only do that because you're a good listener.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I have to have the ability to listen well and learn well to benefit from these episodes. But anyways, thank you very much for giving us the time, for giving me your attention.
For giving me your attention.
Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and this is episode 4 of the podcast. But yeah, I haven't not been posting, but I hope to post more in the future. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.